the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Mostly a special season for Miami, a breakthrough year. Tyreek Hill right there in the MVP conversation. Jalen Waddle having a great year. I mean, it seemed like everything was coming together for the Dolphins to maybe even come out of the AFC. Like number one seed was on the table, and then life came at them fast. And obviously the bad pick late. I mean, where are you at with Tua going into the postseason and maybe going into next year? And how much has your thoughts changed about Miami over the last couple of weeks?
Zero is how my thoughts have changed about Tua. I think that Tua is in the tier with Jared Goff and at the low end, Jimmy Garoppolo, and he was on the 49ers. Like, he's good. He executes the system well. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. Like, his release is really special. The way he can layer the ball in there is pretty special too. But at the end of the day, you see a guy like Josh Allen who can go out and get you a bucket no matter what is happening. And Tua is just not that guy. Like, Tua can't get you a bucket if the linebackers sink to a certain depth on the dig, right? Like, he tried to force it in there versus the Ravens, like around like 5 people, and it got tipped and intercepted. And he's not someone who can create out of structure. And I think that players win over scheme, and the Dolphins are all scheme, and they're all motion, and they're all speed, and all those things are great. But sometimes the defense like just knows what they're about and knows what they're about to run and can put bodies in the spots where the Dolphins like to hit, and Tua has to be more multidimensional. And I just don't think that he's a very multidimensional quarterback. I think his arm strength is a real limitation. You know, his ability out of structure is a real limitation. He's really good at the things he's good at, but there are quarterbacks out there who are good at multiple different things. And I think that they haven't paid him. You know, Jalen Hurts got an extension this offseason. He was in that draft class. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, even Jordan Love got a 1-year extension this draft class. It's only Tua who didn't. And man, now that they're on the road, he brought them to a wild card round. Like, they didn't beat anybody good except for Dallas. I guess they did beat Dallas. I'll give them that. But overall, like, struggled in big games, I would say, has been a valid criticism of the Tua McDaniel era. And now they've got to go on the road in what is apparently going to be like a blizzard single-digit game in Kansas City with that front rolling in. Like, I don't know how much confidence I have in them to win that game or make a run. And if they don't, like, what kind of contract are you giving Tua? Are you making a move like McVay did going from Goff to Stafford? Man, I think that their future, I mean, they still have a whole playoff run to do, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I still think that they're like a decent team, although with their edges out, it's going to be really, really tough. But yeah, I don't really know. I would certainly not be interested in giving to a mega deal, but we'll see if the Dolphins feel the same way.
Would you be surprised if they won the AFC?
Yes, I definitely would be surprised if they came in without Chubb, without Phillips, you know, with their struggles in big games as kind of more of a one-dimensional team. If they went into Baltimore and won, if they went into Kansas City in the freezing cold and won, to go on that kind of run, I don't expect it of them at this point. They've lost to the Bills twice this year. Are they going to beat the Bills like if they play again? I don't really think so.
Hard to beat a team 3 times, maybe.
There are numbers about that. I know it happened last year, and I can't remember what they said. If it's hard when you've swept them in the regular season, or if like the odds are overwhelming you in your favor. There was some study that I read last year on that is just slipping my mind now if it's good or bad.
Well, it works in the Pac-12 because Washington beat Oregon twice, and then Utah beat USC twice, and they had no problem because everyone was talking themselves. It's like really hard to beat the same team twice, and it's like actually turns out it's not. Like, they're just better.
Actually, the results of that passes my sniff test. If you beat them twice, you're probably better, and you're going to beat them again. But it definitely would surprise me. Although certainly stranger runs have happened. I mean, it has been kind of a banner year for the Dolphins, but I don't know how McDaniel gets them like psyched up to be an underdog, go on the road. This whole year they've been front runner. Look at the offense. Look at Tyreek Hill. Look at Tua. Look at the numbers they're putting up. Look at they've got Vic Fangio. Look, since Jalen Ramsey is back, the defense has been the best in the league. This is and now all of a sudden it's like, we're the underdogs. We're going on the road. Like, we couldn't even beat the Bills in a dysfunctional year where they fired their offensive coordinator. Like, it's been all scrutiny for the Bills all year. They're the ones still in the driver's seat. Like, I don't know how you spin that narrative if you're Mike McDaniel. Like, you're coming off this huge failure. I guess that's what you got to feed into is like, but man, I feel like the excitement is just gone from the Miami season, losing the division. And I kind of think that it's that they don't have it right now.
And the worst matchup, just the blizzard in Kansas City against Mahomes, is just, I mean,
with no pass rush too. Like, your interior linemen are good, but they're not. Are they going to get pressure on what is really a good interior line on Kansas
Probably
City?
not.
Like, I would want good edges against their tackles, right? And they don't have that. Yeah, it's going to be rough.
But on the flip side, the Chiefs receivers suck. So it's just going to be one of those. Maybe this is going to be like an ugly, low-scoring game where it's just neither team wants to win this game.
It's the one on Peacock, so hopefully it's the most skippable.
People make these jokes. Have y'all watched the Peacock basketball and stuff? Great screen, great scores. Like, the Peacock app actually is good for sports. Like, people are dunking on the Peacock app. Folks, there's some bad apps and there's some bad. I'm a big score look person and how it looks in the broadcast. Peacock looks good for basketball. Okay. So I'm like, I think it might actually be okay.
Do you have to pay for it?
It's a good question. I think I do. So I'm not sure if you have to do that.
That's
but
what
I know
everybody is. I think that's what everybody is roasting the app for. Is like, I'm not paying to watch it.
Hey, look, everyone, they say that, and then guess what? They're all going to do it because they're like, I want to watch NFL playoff football. Like, I'm going to sign up for Peacock for this, and then
there's got to be the free trial, and then cancel.
That's also
available. But like, for my grandpa, he's probably not going to go through all that and just have to miss this one.
He might be a Peacock connoisseur. He might be all locked in on King of Queens.
Maybe he is.
Reruns. You never know. Final thing here, Theo. We'll get you out of here. Best coaching job this year, in your estimation, when you think about the film you've watched and all the different teams, who do you think, maybe it's just based on personnel and what they had to work with, who do you think has actually maximized their talent the best? Because this coach probably won't win Coach of the Year, because that's just like victory type award. Who is it for you?
I'm going to give it to Kyle Shanahan, honestly. I think that when you look at what he's done with the 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback, and the environment that he's been able to create, it's him. I think that they rolled to the number 1 seed in the NFC. They look like the clear favorites to win that, and they look like I don't know if they got beat by Baltimore, so maybe they're not the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But
nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.